Okay, so the first step is really about mapping out all the holidays and events like 4 to 6 months ahead of time. So that will usually be between, let's say, June and July each year. So you want to make sure that you have a list of every holiday or seasonal event that really matters to your audience. So take that into consideration. And make sure you just don't focus on Christmas unless that's just a big part of your business strategy. If it's not, then you want to think about Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, and then there's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and of course New Year's. So, like for me, going back to the Envision You vision builder scenario we were talking about earlier, if I'm thinking about the Alive Oh Wow coffee that I sell, I might plan something like a Spooky Sips Halloween campaign where I might share, maybe some cozy latte recipes with a seasonal twist or something. Or for the Alive Matcha tea, maybe I do something like green energy for the holiday hustle or something like that as a Thanksgiving teaser. And just keeping in mind, for me, my audience is traveling, they're hosting family, and they might be looking for that extra energy boost. So those are, reasons I would consider for that. The point here is really to jot down all your key dates. So including when you'll start teasing your campaigns, what the final order deadlines are that you have to have in order to be able to fulfill their orders, and when your major promos, like for Black Friday, if you're doing that, are going to go live. So once you have that, you want to then determine, which holidays matter most to your audience. So following, the Alive coffee and tea scenario, I'd probably say, okay, my audience really cares about, let's say times when they're gifting, or maybe they're entertaining, or when they're just trying to stay energized and healthy during the holidays. So Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, and New Year's, they all make sense, right, in this scenario, because they line up with gatherings, gift giving, and the whole new fresh start mindset and mentality. Okay, so let's move on to the next question in this step. So this is step 2, or question 2, where it is that you ask, which 2 to 3 holidays should you go all in for? So for example, I might be heavier on like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, maybe because they're considered great for, bundles and discounts. And I'm considering offering, coffee and matcha tea products, in that respect. And then there's Christmas, obviously, because it's all about gift sets and, fun holiday recipes. And so, I might, do something around there. And then definitely New Year's, of course, that's a no-brainer, right? The whole thing around, like we talked about the live matcha tea, it's perfect because it's like all about wellness, right? So, and it gives also that new year, new energy vibe. So that would be a really good one. And then for the remaining, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, it might not be like the big ones that I'm gonna hit on, but you might want to slightly just, we might want to just lightly touch on, those products instead of making a big push like we normally would within the 2 to 3 holidays that we would select for it. Okay, and then the final question to answer in step 1 is all about your goal for each holiday. So is it sales? Do you want to just build brand awareness, or are you wanting to grow like your email list? For example, for my coffee and tea product, I might, for Black Friday goal, it might be focused on sales and with exclusive bundles or something like that. And then maybe for Christmas, it might be something I want to focus on brand awareness or connecting, and then still getting sales, of course, but that could be the focus of Christmas for me. All right, so moving on to step 2, this is where you're going to start brainstorming your content ideas. And keep in mind that you want to do this around 4 to 5 months in advance. So that's like July, August. You want to think about a good mix of like educational stuff, maybe some fun posts, things that are just super engaging. So for example, for my Oh Wow coffee, I might post like 5 cozy coffee recipes for Halloween movie nights, right? And then for the tea, I might create a quick reel or something. Let's say like 3 matcha latte variations to beat holiday stress or something like that. Then for Thanksgiving, I could do gratitude posts or something, thanking all my customers. You see that a lot happening during that time. And then maybe some behind the scenes video of, what I'm thankful for. And it might feature the products or something. All right. So step 3 is where you want to create your content calendar. And you want to do this step 3 to 4 months in advance, so between August and September. And the goal here really is to lay it all out from September through January. And doing this for the first time, of course, will take a little bit longer. But once you have built it, it's all about making small tweaks after that. So it's definitely worth the effort. And one thing to keep in mind as you do this activity is, this is really where your strategy really comes together. I know I'll be working with my creative team to pull this together, because this is not an area of my ministry and this is really where they shine. But you'll decide here when to drop your teasers, your main campaigns, and your follow-ups. So for me, by the end of September, my goal maybe to have all my Halloween content for Oh Wow Coffee done, like my spooky latte art reels or a pumpkin spice coffee promo, whatever. And then I might decide to weave in, things about the tea product throughout each month. And then maybe for December, I might do, something like 12 days of matcha magic or something. You just never know. But, just think about things like that. For me, it might be a post on wellness tip every day that leads up to Christmas for your product. You want to think about what that looks like for you. And that can make it engaging and impactful and fun because it's the end of the year. All right. And then moving on to step 4 is where you're going to focus on prepping and scheduling your campaigns. So you want to have this done like 2 months in advance. So think September through May, October. And then sticking with the coffee and tea scenario, for me, it'd probably be like early November. I'm going to want, my Black Friday and Cyber Monday content finalized, right? So like emails I plan to send, ads I plan to run, posts I plan to schedule, just everything. And by mid-November, my Christmas, my New Year's campaign should, all be locked in and scheduled, right? And this is great because if you think about it, if you can do this and stay on track, then December really becomes a month you could just relax and have fun and just really enjoy that time with your family and friends, because now you know that everything is scheduled, everything is running, and you could just really, sit back and really just go to step 5, which is enjoy the holidays, right? Really focus on engaging with your customers, enjoying that time, replying to comments, maybe running giveaways if that's part of your plan. And then, some things that you want to keep on top of is, especially if people are purchasing your product and they're engaging with you, share their story, share them using your product or saying what they love about your services, things like that. And then once you've done that, then we move on to the last step, right? So the holiday is over. It's your post-holiday wrap up. And you're basically just doing a review of how you did. How did your strategy work out? What do you want to repurpose for next year, right? So look at which posts had the most engagement, which emails had the best open rate, etc. And then you want to save that content or flag it, however, so that you remember that next year when you reuse it, you repost it, it's right there for you. You don't have to recreate it. So that's it. That's the step-by-step system for planning your holiday content. All right. So I know that was a lot and we went through it pretty quick, but I'll drop the link to the template in the chat. So you can just go through this at your own pace later. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me in the community. And, as always, I'll be happy to help you figure out what your content strategy should be. And then we have our creative team in there that'll help you as well. All right. Well, thanks for jumping in on with me today. I'm going to go ahead and end the call, and you guys have a great fourth quarter. Bye.